I'm Butch Stearns at Customer Days here in Fort Worth, Texas. We're talking customer engagement, and we're joined now by Shep Hyken. Shep, how are you?
It's great to be here, Butch. I'm doing fantastic.
You are one of the most passionate people I know. For people that don't know you, what are you passionate about, and why are you passionate about
Sure.
it?
Well, Butch, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever gone and done business with somebody and you walk out and you go, wow, that was an amazing experience. Those people are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I help my clients achieve, is that level of amazement. I am passionate about the customer experience, about customer service, about how they interact, the company interacts with the customers, how customers interact with the company to create what I call an amazing customer experience.
How can brands handle the internal change management needed to meet the customer experience expectations that consumers are demanding?
Well, customer service is no longer a department, it's a philosophy. And you can have somebody in the warehouse that never interacts with a customer, but totally impacts the customer based on how effective or how perfect they are at making sure all the merchandise the customer buys is being put in that box. You check your bag in an airport and 3 hours later you end up at your destination and the bag's not there. It wasn't, the person that you gave the bag to that ruined the experience for you. It's somebody down below or somebody in transit. Those people say, well, I never deal with a customer or a passenger. So that's not true. They may not actually directly deal, but they are definitely a part of the process, the journey that customer goes on.
Give us an example of how this changing customer journey has affected business decisions within companies.
Well, we are smarter as companies than ever before, so we are analyzing every touch point and every what I call impact point, those behind the scenes points, such as that baggage handler who impacts the ultimate experience. So we're analyzing every one of those touch points. The customer on their side is smarter than ever before. They're no longer comparing us to somebody else in our own industry for competition. They're actually comparing us to, we could be in the manufacturing business talking, and that customer's talking to one of our sales reps, and that customer's going, boy, last night I had the most delicious meal and the service was so fantastic. Why can't this rep be as good as that person that took care of me last night? So they're comparing us to people outside of our industry. They're smarter, plus they watch TV, and we keep promoting, we as companies generally promote, we've got great customer service. Well, put your money where your mouth is and prove it, and recognize that it's far beyond just the customer service on the front line reacting to a question or a problem. It's the total engagement process.
How can brands keep up with customers when their journeys are continually changing and their behaviors are continually changing?
We'll start with the most obvious, and that's creating something that's called the journey map. And that customer's journey is plotted out step by step, every interaction that they could potentially have. And depending upon the type of customer it is it a repeat customer? Is it a customer coming in for repair? Is it a customer coming in for whatever reason? Or is it a first-time customer? They're going to have a different scenario than a different customer. So we're going to analyze all these situations. We're also going to look at behind the scenes, and we're going to basically identify that every single department and ultimately every person in an organization is responsible for some aspect of that customer experience. So that's the first part, is that companies are starting to recognize this. The second thing they're doing is they're looking at where their customers are going, looking where, and this I think ties into everything we're doing here. We're looking and analyzing, where do our customers work? Where do they live? Where do they want to do business with us? We're seeing more and more customers move to an online in virtually every industry, not just B2C, but B2B as well. The online experience is starting to become normal. The way to make that happen, by the way, is to create confidence with that customer. So the company has to do a great job of creating a system that works. Then we have to go out and do a great job of teaching the customer that it works. And if we find out that our customers are hanging out in other channels, we need to be considerate of that and think about moving to those other channels. People ask me all the time, Shep, which social media channel should we be monitoring for customer engagement? And I say, well, where are your customers? It's wherever they are. So Twitter by itself doesn't work. Twitter, Facebook, anywhere that they can interact with you, leave a comment with you. You need to be monitoring those, and you need to be actively engaging. Hence that word customer engagement again, to create really more of a relationship than just a transactional type of business arrangement.
How do I, as a company, go where my customers live or be where my customers are?
Move. No, but seriously, analyze where they're coming from. You'll find out soon enough. Monitor the social channels. See what customers are saying about you. Ask them. And by the way, that may be the simplest way. How do you like to do business with us? Ask them, are you prone to wanting to do it online? Do you find going online is easier than talking to someone, or do you prefer talking to someone? What social channels do you use? Does your company, some companies are very active and have, Facebook is part of their business. They have private pages and groups, and that may be where those customers are hanging out. So we want to hang out with them, and we want to get on those channels, and we want to not just react to what we were talking about earlier, we want to engage, and that means we may be proactive in creating content. I love a product that SAP has now called Jam. What I love about Jam, and when I first heard about it, I kind of liken it to almost like user groups. If you go to Apple and you have a question, rather than go direct to Apple, you might go onto their community site and just throw a question out there, and guess what? The evangelists, the customers who love Apple come to your rescue. And I think that's a great application, but I also think that a company has to be monitoring that, because if they see something happening out there, they might want to interact as well, and they may want to pull that customer out of that community and work directly with them one-on-one. By the way, if you're going to ask a customer to move from one community or one type of channel to another, that's a dangerous move. Typically, it's let's move you from whatever channel you are to a direct method of communication, which is usually the phone at that point.
Marketers today, what are some of the barriers that they face? What are some of the opportunities that they have?
Well, I think opportunities are endless. I think the challenge is to keep up with what those customer expectations are, to make sure that you're totally integrated with that customer, engaging not just with the individual customer, but engage in the industry. Because your other customers who you don't yet have may be giving you an indication of where you need to go with your current customers and ultimately your new ones.
Can you give us an example of a company you consider to be a customer-centric brand?
Well, I mean, again, I'm going to play in that customer service world, but I love the concept of self-service solutions. Okay, so we as companies need to create various solutions to make it as easy as possible when a customer wants to come and do business with us. So for example, I tried to put together a ping pong table, couldn't do it. I just go on Google, I type in the manufacturer and the model number, and up pulls a YouTube video, which now it's like the guy's looking over my shoulder teaching me how to do it. And let's go to one that maybe a lot of people can identify with. When's the last time you flew on an airplane? Probably yesterday.
Coming out here.
Exactly. And how did you book your flight? Did you go online?
Yes.
Okay. I think that the airlines have created a great technology. I had a friend of mine say I had the best experience on Delta Airlines. I go, what was that? He says, I was able to book my ticket, check in, get to the gate without ever having to deal with a Delta airline employee. Now you laugh because you're thinking that's because he doesn't like the Delta airline employees, but the actual reality is he loves the system that they created, and he knows that if there is a problem, Delta will jump on the phone with him, or he can go to the courtesy counter and he can get it taken care of. So there still has to be a backup of the human support if necessary. But they've created this great system, and it's a great way to engage. And by the way, as they engage on that technology, they're also tracking and understanding what that customer is doing. You're getting analytics, you're watching trends. You are able to identify that that particular passenger likes to sit in an aisle seat toward the front of the plane. Little things like that. So you go from big analytics where you're seeing trends down to what I call little data or micro analytics, where you can actually spot the individual preferences of that customer and give them an even better experience.
Mobility, specifically the ability to buy on your cell phone. How is it changing the way that companies interact with customers now?
Well, this is huge because there's several things. Let's go back to what the internet did. Okay, the internet made the local store a worldwide storefront, and mobile is just taking it to a whole nother level. You don't have to sit in your home or at your desk at work to look online and buy something. Now, if you're even just thinking about it, you reach into your pocket, boom. So let's make sure that the experience the customer has with your company on the mobile environment is extremely easy, if not even equally as easy to use on that desktop.
Shep, you should be a little bit more passionate about this stuff.
Well, it's obvious. I love it, and thanks very much. This is great, Butch.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Great to see you.
Okay, you too.
Thanks.